Vietnam may be headed for more interest rate cuts. Bond yields dropped yesterday for a fifth day after Nomura Holdings and the Asian Development Bank both cut their growth forecast, and the central bank governor said loosening monetary policy is a key measure to help maintain growth. The 5-year bond yield fell to 10%. Nomura cut its forecast for Vietnamese growth next year to 5%, down from 5.5%, and the ADB cut its forecast also to 5%. That's down from 6%. Soren Kirchner is professor at the Hanoi School of Business, and he joins me now. Professor Kirchner, thank you for joining us. Foreign direct investment was a big driver of growth this decade. Are you seeing that falling off?
Actually, foreign direct investment hit at $58 billion, which is a record high for Vietnam. And I think that with the global recession, it will abate some, but the projections are still optimistic because of the fact that this market has a lot of inexpensive labor, and in down economic times, that makes it a great target for foreign direct investment.
That said, I mean, some of the commitments for that foreign direct investment in that $58 billion are for steel industry, for the real estate industry, and those are both sectors which have been hit pretty hard, haven't they?
That's correct. 29% was in real estate, 23% in petro, which has been affected by the price drop, and heavy industry. However, the specter of development is actually more optimistic than most places in the world.
An economist at Dragon Capital in Ho Chi Minh City wrote this week that the banks seem wholly uninterested in lending. To what extent is the government trying to rectify that? Well,
you know, the Deputy Prime Minister has dropped the interest rate, and as you already alluded to, the central bank has cut its interest rate by 10%, to 10%, excuse me, and that's the fourth reduction in 6 weeks. So they're on it, and they're staying on the loosening of the credit, like you had mentioned. In addition, there is an economic stimulus package that's been mentioned. $6.6 billion is going to stimulate construction and much-needed housing, and so that's going to help the economy a lot. They're following suit on the world.
How low do you think interest rates are likely to fall?
I think it can go below 10%.
To 8, 7, 6, 5, something like that?
You know, it's a shot in the dark, but I'm assuming it could get as low as like 9%.
The government has also, at least the government website yesterday, was saying that Vietnam will start a fund to provide loans to small and medium-sized enterprises. That will come partly out of the state budget, partly out of foreign donors, it says. We don't really have much more detail about that, but what are you hearing? Well,
foreign donors, ODA money is this year was like 5.5 billion, and some people are saying that that's gonna go down. But they're definitely stimulating the economy by loosening the cash and making funds available. And lending did tighten up because of the inflation, but now I think they're loosening up a bit more from what I can discern. And it doesn't look as bad as many places in the world. If you really think about Vietnam, the real thing is to look at is exports. Exports are up 34% from last year, and the areas of textile, seafood, and footwear and rice. And you got to remember, the world needs food and inexpensive clothing, and these are the fundamentals that are going to drive the economy of Vietnam.
Absolutely. Dr. Kirchner, thank you very much indeed for joining us today. Soren Kirchner there, professor at the Hanoi School of Business, joining us there looking at the Vietnamese economy. Let's take another look at markets down under. New Zealand stock market has been going now for just over a couple of hours, down 1.1%. And as I noted, Australian stock market, now all stocks are trading, is declining. It's 1.6% lower as we speak. And checking on Japanese futures, Nikkei futures, relative to the Nikkei's last close. There, the Chicago Nikkei futures closed at 87.85. That is more than 100 points higher than the Nikkei's close yesterday. But watch the Singapore futures when they open in a few minutes.